It's 2:57 on a Thursday afternoon in February 2020. In a bedroom in Essex, England, a 17-year-old sits in front of three monitors. On the middle screen, a countdown. In 3 minutes, Nike will release 4,000 pairs of a shoe. He is not going to buy one. He is going to buy 900. This is the story of how a generation of teenagers turned a checkout button into a machine. To understand it, you first have to understand the drop. A drop is a limited release. A company makes a small number of a product and sells it at a fixed price at a fixed minute. Sneakers, consoles, graphics cards, concert tickets. The price is set low, the demand is enormous. The gap between the two is money, sitting on a table, waiting for whoever grabs it first. For decades, grabbing it first meant standing in line. People camped outside stores for days. Then the stores moved online. And a line online is not a line. It is a race between computers. Whoever's computer is faster wins. A sneaker bot is a program that shops for you. It fills in the size, the address, the card number, and it clicks by. Not in seconds, but in milliseconds. A human takes maybe 40 seconds to check out. A bot takes a fraction of one. In a race decided in the first 2 seconds, the human never stood a chance. The first bots were crude. A teenager with a little coding knowledge could write a script that refreshed a page and added an item to cart automatically. It worked for a while. Then the companies noticed. They built defenses, puzzles, detection systems, limits of 1 pair per account, per card, per address. The obvious tricks stopped working. So the kids got better. The problem was simple. One person is allowed 1 pair. A bot needs to look like 1,000 different people. So that is what they built. They generated thousands of email addresses, thousands of accounts, each with a fake name and a real-looking history. They bought prepaid debit cards in bulk, loaded with just enough for one purchase. And, most importantly, they hid where they were coming from. That last part is the key to everything. Every device online carries an address, an IP address. Buy 900 pairs from one address and you are flagged instantly. So the botters rented what are called residential proxies. These are real internet connections borrowed from ordinary homes around the world, resold by the gigabyte. Some of those homes had no idea they were being used. Route each purchase through a different house, and to the store, it looks like 900 separate customers in 900 separate cities, all deciding to buy the same shoe at the same second. They were not 900 customers. They were one teenager and one program. But writing that program was hard. It meant reverse engineering how a website worked from the outside and rewriting your code every single time the site changed. Most kids couldn't do it. A few could. And the few who could realized they were sitting on something the many would pay for. This is where it stopped being a hobby and became an economy. A boy who codes builds a bot. He doesn't use it alone. He rents it. He sells a limited number of copies, a few hundred, no more, to keep it scarce, for a few $100s each, and then charges a monthly fee on top. The bot only keeps working if he keeps updating it, so the customer keeps paying, month after month, indefinitely. Software that never stops charging you? Some of these programs sold for $1,000 a copy and resold, second-hand, for $8,000. A piece of software, appreciating like a watch. Around the bots grew a second business. They called them cook groups. To cook is to win a drop. A cook group is a private community, usually a Discord server, where members pay a monthly fee for everything you need to win. Which items are dropping and when? How many pairs exist? Which bot to use for which site? Where to buy proxies that week. Alerts the instant a product goes live, sometimes before the company had even announced it. Some cook groups charged $50 a month. The good ones had waiting lists, and a single membership resold for over $1,000 because the group was full and closed and everyone wanted in. Think about that for a second. Teenagers were charging other teenagers a monthly subscription for the right to buy shoes. At the center of these groups were the runners, the ones who actually did it at scale. A runner might control a farm of servers in a data center, thousands of accounts, a drawer full of prepaid cards, and a rented pool of proxies refreshed every week. On drop day, they didn't try for a pair. They tried for hundreds across dozens of sites at once. And most of the time, they lost. The bot fails, the card declines, the site crashes at the worst moment. But you only have to win sometimes because of what happens next. The next part is the aftermarket. A shoe sold by Nike for $200 does not stay $200. If only 4,000 pairs exist and 1 million people want them, the price finds its real level on the resale market. Websites like StockX and Goat turn sneakers into a stock exchange with live prices, bid and ask, and charts that went up and to the right. A pair bought for $200 sold for $600, sometimes $1,000. For the rarest releases, tens of thousands. The shoe was no longer a shoe. It was an asset. So the math was this: win 10 pairs at $200. That's $2,000 spent. Sell them at $600 each. That's $6,000 back. $4,000 of profit in 90 seconds from a bedroom by a kid who was supposed to be doing homework. Now multiply it. Some runners were moving hundreds of pairs a week. The bot developers were earning on every copy and every renewal. The cook groups were earning on every member. The proxy sellers were earning on every gigabyte. The capture farms, rooms of people in low-wage countries paid to solve the prove-you're-human puzzles the bots couldn't, were earning on every click. Nobody knows the true size of it because none of it was reported to anyone. But when people inside the scene added it up, the bots, the groups, the proxies, the resale, the number they kept landing on was over $100 million a year. An entire industry stacked on top of another industry run largely by people too young to sign a lease. And a handful of them got genuinely rich. There is a well-documented case of a British teenager who left school at 16 and was making, by his own account, several £100,000 a year before he was old enough to legally drink. There were kids buying cars they weren't allowed to drive. There were 16-year-olds with more money in a month than their parents made in a year. To them, it wasn't crime. It was a game they were simply better at than everyone else. They flexed the receipts in Discord channels, screenshots of 100 confirmed orders scrolling past like a slot machine that only ever paid out. Then the game got crowded. As more people bought bots, winning got harder, so the bots got more aggressive. On a big release, a single website might get hit by millions of automated requests in a single minute. More traffic than some countries generate at once. Sites buckled. Real customers stared at loading spinners and error pages while the machines fought each other underneath, invisible. The people the products were actually made for stopped being able to buy them at all. And the companies quietly didn't mind as much as they said. A sold-out drop is a sold-out drop. It doesn't matter to the balance sheet whether a fan or a bot bought it. The companies fought back anyway, and it became an arms race. Every defense a store built, the botters broke within days. The store added a harder puzzle. Someone wrote a service that solved it for a fraction of a cent. The store banned a batch of proxies. Someone sold fresh ones by morning. This went on for years, and the botters usually won because they were faster, they were relentless, and there were simply more of them. By 2021, it wasn't just sneakers anymore. The same tools were pointed at anything scarce. Graphics cards, during a global shortage that crippled entire industries, bought by the pallet and resold at triple. Game consoles impossible to find for over a year, sitting in the warehouses of resellers. Even vaccine appointments at the height of a pandemic scalped by bots repurposed to grab the next scarce thing. Whatever it happened to be, governments finally noticed. Lawmakers gave it a name, Grinch bots, after the ones buying up children's toys before Christmas. Bills were introduced. Nike sued the makers of the bots directly. Some of the biggest cook groups were shut down. And a few of the biggest names in the scene quietly stepped back, cashed out, and disappeared before anyone came knocking on the door. But the tools didn't disappear. They evolved. The crude scripts of the early days became polished commercial products with customer support, video tutorials, and glossy websites. The teenagers who started it all grew up. Some became software engineers, some became millionaires. Some became the exact consultants the companies now hire to keep the bots out. And the machine they built is still running. Every time a product sells out in under a second, every time you refresh the page and it's already gone, there is a decent chance you were never racing another person at all. You were racing a program in an empty room, running on a stranger's internet connection, buying 900 of something it will never wear to sell it back to you at 4 times the price. The kids who ran the empire are adults now. The empire never closed, the next drop is already scheduled, and the bots are already waiting.